everyone, Danielle here again for day 5 of Neat and Tangled's Fall 2012 initial release week. It's really hard to believe that the week has already come to an end, but luckily I still have one stamp set left to show you. You've seen 5 sets already, so this is going to be the 6th and final set for this release. Here it is, and this is called Little Tangles, and it is a 4x6 set with 3 large stamps that you can use to create so many different patterns and backgrounds on your projects. And so just like every other day, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to ink these up and stamp them out onto a 5.5 by 4 1/4 card base so you can see exactly what they would look like on your own projects. So I'm going to go ahead and start with this one stamp that kind of inspired the whole set and definitely was the inspiration for the name, because quite honestly it looks like a bunch of little tangles, and this is exactly what it looks like when I doodle. So a little tip I have when you're working with these kind of larger stamps is a lot of times if you were to take your block and try to lay it flat, it might not be perfect just because of the nature of the stamp. They're very bendy and also very clingy. So, you know, if you're not perfect, you could get some bends and twists in your stamp. I'll show you here like a pretty dramatic one, but you'll see the nature of the stamp is super bendy, so I actually was able to create a really big bend in the stamp itself. Obviously that's an option you could use for stamping if you wanted kind of like more of an arched effect, but if you were looking for it to be perfectly straight across, something that works well for me is I just actually take it, get it pretty close to my desk, and then just drop it. And if it looks a little crooked at all, just kind of straighten it out, and then I go with my block and pick it up. And that way 99% of the time it's going to be as as close to perfect as you're going to get. So that's a good way to make sure that you're going to line them up nice and straight. Another tip I have for using a larger stamp like this, not just these background stamps but any larger image, is instead of taking your image or your stamp and dabbing it on your ink pad, it's a little bit easier to take your ink pad and go to the stamp. So that's what I'm going to do here. It's just a little bit easier, a little less mess when you do it this way. You'll have to forgive my blocks. They're pretty dirty after all the stamping I've been doing this week. So I inked it up and I'm just going to go ahead and stamp it. These stamps were actually used pretty much throughout the week. There were some really great projects using them. One of my favorites was from, I think it was the first day, Laurie did a card using the little bumblebee from Fresh Blooms and this particular stamp from the set. And she actually just inked up one of the little tangles and kind of made it like the path that the bumblebee had flown on. So that's a great option. You don't have to actually ink up all 3 of them. You could do some selective inking and just ink up one of the tangles or part of the stamp set and use that. You don't have to use it as the full 3. You'll notice too that the length or width, however you want to orient the stamp, is perfect for your card base. It's going to reach the full length of the card base, so you're not going to have to ink it up and stamp it and ink it up and stamp it again. It's going to run the full length. Obviously if it goes the 5.5, it's going to go the 4 1/4 as well. So that makes it a little bit easier when you're stamping. You're only going to have to ink it up one time to get it the full length. Another favorite using the stamp set that I thought was really creative was Shari did a card for today where she stamped this background, and she actually did some hand stitching on one of the tangles, and I thought that turned out really beautifully. It was super creative. I really never would have thought of that myself. Next up I'm going to show you and stamp this little zigzag chevron pattern. I'm kind of a fan of background stamps that can either be really bold or really understated. And I feel like these 3 stamps here can be used either way. They're just really versatile. You could do some tone-on-tone stamping with them, and I feel like kind of the stroke of the stamp is not so bold that it's going to be overpowering. You could make it look really delicate, or if you wanted to do a more bold kind of statement look, you could use a darker ink like here with the black on white, or you could always do some white embossing on colored cardstock and get a nice bold pattern as well. So I feel like these stamps could go either way. Two projects that I liked with this particular stamp from the set were Tekka's from today. She did a layout and she embossed it. I don't know if it was clear or white, but she embossed it, and then she did some really pretty watercoloring that turned out just beautifully. And that's the nice thing about having these larger stamps, is that they're perfect to use on scrapbook layouts as well, not just cards. Another neat one was Elena used this with the Cloud and Stars and Moon from the Halloween stamp set, and she stamped out the chevron and then colored in between different shades of pink, and that turned out really pretty too. And the last one in the set is this really cute stamp. It's the kind of like waves or a scallop. I intended it to kind of look like waves. I guess I was thinking beach when I sketched this out, because I do love the beach so much. But you could also look at it as scallops. It's kind of whatever you interpret it as. So I'll go ahead and ink this up for you. Missed a spot. Hold on. There we go. I think that these three patterns are just really nice everyday patterns. You can use them for anything. You know, you could use them for holidays, for Christmas or Halloween, Easter. You could use them for birthdays, thank you cards. They just, you know, you can really use them for anything, which is always nice. You can combine them pretty much with any stamps that you already own, definitely any of the ones that you've seen this week. And there you go. So these are the three that are going to come in the set. You'll get the Little Tangles, the waves or scallops, however you look at it, and the zigzag chevron pattern. And just to show you one more time, here they are, side by side. I just want to thank you all so much for stopping by this week. Don't forget, I did announce the giveaway winners, so check and see if you're one of the winners. All stamp sets are now available for purchase over at neatandtangled.com. I had mentioned in an earlier video that quantities were a little bit limited just because I wasn't, you know, it's the initial release, so I didn't want to go overboard, but I actually do already have another order in to restock. So if they happen to sell out over the next week or so, don't worry, they will be restocked very quickly, so there should be really no waiting to get these. Thank you again so much for all of your kind words, and I just had so much fun getting to know all of you a little bit better through the blog, over on Facebook and Twitter. And while I'm sad to see the week come to an end, I'm even more excited for you to actually be able to get your hands on these and make your own projects. I am just super excited to see what you guys come up with. I know you're going to be so creative and think of a million things that never even crossed my mind. So I just ask that once you do start creating things, you please let me know. You know, send me an email with a link or pictures to your blog post. Definitely upload your projects to our Flickr groups, you know, tweet about it, send me a message on Facebook, anything. I really am just so excited to see what you all do with these stamps. And while release week is over, that doesn't mean it's the end to the fun. Next week, you're going to have the opportunity to meet our official design team. There are 5 lovely ladies that I am happy to have on the team currently, and I am actually towards the end of the week going to be posting an open design team call, because I'm still looking for a few people to kind of round out the team, and there will be more details about that next week. So thank you all so much for making this pretty much the best week ever, and I look forward to just getting to know you all even more.